Hello, it's Randi Rhodes. Here's a clip from our show, and go to randyrhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.
Mary had a little man.
The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show. Turn up your mind.
You absolutely will not believe this, and I know most of us didn't watch this swill last night, but Donald Trump went to Iowa. Okay, Iowa is part of the Midwest where COVID is exploding right now. Wisconsin, North Dakota, Bismarck has exactly one ICU bed available. One. Because it's rural and they don't have hospitals like cities do. They don't have the capacity to take in all these sick people who need to be in ICU, in intensive care. So anyway, he goes to Iowa where COVID is spiking. It's off the charts, okay? And he tells Iowans, you know that stupid story he tells as if he's won a Nobel Prize, which he can't spell. Okay, he misspells Nobel when he tweets it. But you know that story he tells where he tells his audience that he won or intimates that he won a Nobel Prize when the truth is he was nominated by a fringy right-wing parliamentarian somewhere in the Netherlands, right? For God knows what. But he tells the story about how he goes home and he finds out something. He insinuates that he won the Nobel Prize. He phrases it in such a ham-handed way that it intimates, it actually suggests that he won the Nobel Prize and that the media wouldn't cover it. You know, there are thousands of people nominated every year for Nobel Prizes in various categories, and we don't celebrate the win until they won. That's number one. But he went to Iowa last night and he told this story, and he always twists the story a little bit. So last night he twists the story that when he went home and turned on the TV, all the news was covering. Now remember, he's in Iowa where they had a derecho, which is a landlocked, it's a unique thing. It's a landlocked hurricane. It's a hurricane that has the force of a hurricane, the winds of a hurricane, the flood capacity of a hurricane, but it doesn't come from warm air over the ocean. It comes from warm air in the atmosphere. It was a freaky thing, and it caused amazing, enormous damage. And on top of it, they're in the middle of a pandemic. I mean, really getting hit hard right now in Iowa. And he stands on the stage and he tells that story about the Nobel this way. I want you to notice the audience, because for a brief moment, the cult actually understands, A, that he's lying, and B, how insulting he is. But they probably talked themselves out of it and said, I don't care. But check this out.
Let's go home. So I leave for the first time in a long time early. I get home, I turn on the television. They talked about your floods in Iowa. They talked about how's Iowa doing the crops? How's this happening? How are they doing in Florida? 3, 4 stories, one after another. Where's my Nobel Peace Prize? They don't talk about it.
Wow. He did not win a Nobel Peace Prize. He will never win a Nobel Peace Prize. Where's my Nobel Peace Prize? And he keeps telling this story over and over again as if he won a Peace Prize. And he mocked the suffering of Iowans who, by the way, had to deny COVID in order to talk themselves into attending this super spreader event.
Democrats have rented out a Trump COVID super spreader event billboard near the venue's site. Supporters say they're not worried about catching the virus.
I'm not worried. I figured the sooner we all get it, the sooner we'll be done with it.
And you don't think that could lead to a lot of people, dying perhaps from the virus?
I think the numbers are vastly inflated.
If I'm going to get sick and die, I guess it's my turn. But I trust God and I'm not scared.
But if you don't put yourself at risk, you might not die.
If I put myself at risk every time I go to the grocery store, I go to McDonald's, I go to work, I do anything.
Wear a mask. Put one on now. go into the super spreader event, but wear a mask. No. And this man, this person who is not even competent, not even worthy of your trust or the position he holds, okay, is literally mocking the people who decided that if it was their time to die, they're ready to go. They don't really give a damn about anybody around them. They don't give a damn if they catch it and they are, communicating it to other people. That never enters their philosophy. However, they actually decided they were willing to die for the cult leader. We should call tonight, was Celebrity Apprentice previously on NBC. Just call it Authoritarian Apprentice to Vladimir Putin, and just put that up on the screen. Savannah Guthrie. I mean, what would you do? I mean, I can put myself in that position. I really can. So the network comes to you and they say, we have this opportunity. It's Donald Trump. He never comes on NBC. He hates NBC. He mocks it. He calls it Concast. But we have the ability to put millions of eyeballs on our network. And Savannah, you're going to do it. Would you do it? I'll tell you what, that girl makes tens of millions of dollars a year. Every one of your network people, whether they're on cable news or network news makes more, but cable news, $25 million a year, $12 million a year, $5 million a year for your first year or 3, okay? And then bump up to 10. Isn't there an ability to say, I've been raking in, let's just say 10, okay? Let's just say that's what she makes. I've been raking in $10 million a year for 20 years. I got a nest. No, I'm not doing it. I am not going to put a man who refuses to debate for the presidency. He won't even debate, okay? There's nothing this man will do. He won't lay out his agenda for the next year. He won't debate the vice president of the United States, the former vice president of the United States. He wants to use me. And I would say, you know what? I'm retiring. I had a good long run, 20 years, $10 million a year. Let's say I'm good. I'm out. That would be me. And we know that because I've walked away before. But I still cannot get over this. That man is going to stand on a stage and while he mocks his own cult, his own death cult, who are willing to die for him, he just did it right in front of their faces last night. Right in front of them. Told them all he saw on the news was Iowa derecho. All he saw was Iowa floods. All he heard about was Iowa crops. Listen, here's the really dirty secret. Donald Trump's trade policy has bankrupted so many farmers that ahead of the election, they're shoving out the door $46 billion to farmers, which represents about 40% of what they make, and most of it going to corporate farms, big farms, massive farming, okay? And he mocks them in front of them to their face, probably not even realizing where he is or what he's saying. Or maybe he does, and he's just that cruel. Hard to say, hard to know. So, NBC, what do they show on NBC? This Is Us? So tonight it's going to be This Is Not Us. I'm stunned by it. Go to RandiRhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.